Welcome back. Stasa23 here, back again with some knife therapy. And knife you have in front of you, that's all taken apart. It's a ZT0609 because I got the little tool in. There you go. Wait, what is it? Let's see if I can get it to focus. Up, there you go. It would focus. I mean, it would say if it wasn't backwards. The STP Tool. And it comes in the same box as the budget knives come in, STP Tool. And I must say, it does have some heft, and it seems to be of nice quality. They got the Kershaw branding on it. I'm surprised they don't have the ZT on there. You got holes to where you can put something in there. I used some Allen keys, put them in there to get you some extra torque. And I will say I did it like this, like that. And I will say I definitely needed that because they put so much Loctite on mine. I thought I was going to break the little, let's see. I thought I was going to break the little grooves. Let me see if I can get the zoom in there. Those little grooves they got, the little nubs, I thought I was going to break them off. Luckily, they're pretty well made. I haven't really inspected to see if any of them are bent. And it also has a magnet in the middle. So at least whenever you have the tool in storage, let's see, like that, it's good to go there. And then also, since this is a steel screw, it magnetizes to this. But I will say, being that this is a dome screw, it doesn't magnetize itself too well to it. And being that I had so much Loctite on mine, I had a little kind of slipped off and scratched the surface a little bit, so I put it on the buffing wheel and I polished mine up. So, you know, whatever. So this is everything. This is how this pivot works. It's see-through like that. And here's the other side, the female. And the female is open. I don't know how strong that is, but I'm sure once it's mated with its partner right here, I'm sure it's a lot stronger. And then there you go. You have the pivotless pivot. I could definitely do without it. I mean, it looks nice, but it would have been nicer if they would have had grooves in the middle to use a regular Torx. I can't really stand having to buy and use these specialized tools, especially with my hand dexterity. It just sucks. So we're going to put this guy apart. I would have showed the complete disassembly, but whenever I realized how difficult it was going to be for me to break that Loctite, and it lasted almost the entire way, I just figured I would take it apart and show y'all, you know, putting it back together. So you get to see the tool in work, action. You get to see the insides of the knife. And also, I'll be using this on camera. I will say, and I forgot to video it, of course, but you can watch other people's videos. This thing was nowhere near drop shut. I don't think it'll ever be drop shut just because it has a good bit of lock bar tension. But we're going to see if how good this lube works. I wiped down all the original, if they had any in there, cleaned it up, got the dirt and grime out of it. Same with the blade. I cleaned it off with rubbing alcohol. Another thing I will show, you know, the race washers, they're okay. They're 15 thousandths thick. You know, I've seen a lot thicker. But one thing that I did notice, let's see, probably not going to be able to zoom in on this, is that they had like nicks and scratches in them, and it wasn't completely smooth. So I did smooth over this washer. I lapped it, just kind of polished it up a little bit, just because, you know, if that thing's not flat and has any kind of humps or any kind of raises, of course it's going to slow down, you know, your bearings. And another thing I've noticed, and I mean, it doesn't really bother me that bad because I don't usually notice that much of a difference, is you'll notice that ZT still uses ceramic hardware, like ceramic ball bearings and ceramic pivot. But I will say, every time I open up their knives, their bearings are super free. I've had a lot of, not going to name any company names, but bearings where I took them out and you go to roll them around like this and they're seized up, they're smushed inside of the cage. And I mean, that's pretty crappy. I guess that's why the KVT bearings work so good. And as long as they work good, I guess, you know, staying with stainless isn't a bad thing. At least the stainless isn't going to eat up, you know, eat up stuff as bad as ceramic will. So let's get it put back together since this is a super long video. I'm going to put our pivotless pivot in. And it's a nice tight fit. You can always pretty much guarantee that with ZT. I'm just going to put a dot of this knife pivot lube on each side. I mean, literally a dot, just to hold that bearing race in there. I mean, I don't know if you can even see that, but just a little bitty dot. That stuff spreads really well. I definitely noticed that, you know, they always say less is best, and it's certainly the case with the knife pivot lube. I've noticed way better results if you use way less. Another thing you notice it's not a captured pivot. That's kind of crappy, especially when you have to use this specialized tool. Come on, ZT, get with it. And then I put a little dot on where you can see the track. The bearings have formed a track in this race washer. Just put 2 little specks of the oil on there. Put a little speck of oil on the pivot. And let's see, let's drop a set of bearings in there. Then I like to rotate my bearings just to kind of spread that oil all around the bearings. And I mean, it's going to work itself in. You don't really need lube for the bearings, but I notice it makes it a little bit better. I'm trying to get a hold of a pull test or whatever, so I can show. You can actually show the smoothness of something by how many pounds of pressure it takes to move it. But we'll see. Hopefully I can get a hold of that. Put a little drop of lube in the detent ball hole, and then I just put a little speck. I mean, when I say little, I'm literally not squeezing it, just letting whatever comes off the tip touch that. And I notice that's all you need. Just a little bitty bit. Drop the stop pin back in. It's one good thing about a tight pivot fitting. It doesn't fall out when you're trying to do the disassembly and putting it back together. Wish the stop pins were as tight of a fit. I like to hold down the lock bar, so I'm not fighting with that. I throw my other bearing in there, do the same thing, spin it around, mix, get that lube in put that lube in them balls. Yep, getting them all over those balls. Alrighty. Now let's put our other bearing race. See which side. See, you can see the track worn into it right there. See, look how rough that is. That's pretty upsetting. And you can notice the track is worn in a lot on the top, not really. You can't really see it on the bottom. That, to me, that shows you know, there's something that's uneven. Either the race washer is not totally flat, or you have some tolerance issues. And now let's pop this scale on. The only plus about not having a D-shaped pivot or something like that is how easy it is to put the knife back together. Let's check something. I always like to check, make sure you got a free falling whenever I let off the. Yeah, there you go. Now let's get this pivot started. I always like to do it by hand. I'm not putting any more Loctite on it unless it loosens up, because that was a pain in the behind. I like to try to start it by hand if possible and go as far as I can. This might not work, mainly because this pivot's slippery. There we go. That way you're not going to cross thread it, because you can feel it going back in there. And doing this, you're not going to mar up the surface. You can get it almost all the way. Then I take body screws. Now, something I noticed this on another knife. It bugs me when the finish is different. You got like a a dull satin finish that came on this and a polished finish that came like that factory. I just touched it up. Probably should have hit this on the buffer, but I think they were trying to match the clip. And I always rotate, once I get it in there, I rotate backwards until you hear that little click. And then you know, once you hear that little click, you know you have it where, you know you have it in the track, and you're not going to cross the thread. That's why, because I got the wrong driver out. Hello, dummy. They're using, I think, yeah, using T8s on the body. The only thing that's using a T6 is your lock bar insert, and I'm not messing with that. Okay, you heard that click? Listen. You heard that little click? Now I know I'm in the groove. And then I don't tighten it all the way down. I go all the way till it stops, and then I give it about a 1/16 of a turn backwards, just because I like to do my adjustments. Tighten it all the way, and then about a 1/4 of a turn backwards, all the way, 1/4 of a turn backwards. That way, if I need to fix the pivot or something, I can. Because if you lock the body screws down, your adjustments aren't shifting the scales any. If you have any, if your blade's off centered or something. See, this thing's just a pain. Look, see, it won't. I got to hold it really steady to make it stay like that. But being that it's domed, any slight movement in that magnet's going to let go. Okay. Let's see where it looks like right now. Right now it looks centered right here, but then if I'm looking right there, let me look at it off camera. Yeah, I think that's that's good to go. This is how I usually do it. Flip it upside down, and there you go. It's splitting the wickets right there. I'm gonna call that good. Let's check for any detent. Any play up or down. No play up or down. None left or right. I might be able to. Let's see. I might be able to loosen that up. I kind of gave it a good little torque there, and I still have to tighten up the body screws. I don't want to forget about that. Yeah, I tightened it enough to where I got to use the other one. I mean, I'm definitely glad that the tool's out now, but I hate the fact that I actually got to use that. Whew, that action's nice. Make sure I don't have any play. No play, up or down, left or right. Pivot's free. So see, your pivot is fully free right there, absolutely free dropper. So the rest is just lock bar tension. That's why I don't think this one will ever be a free dropper. There's your lock up. Let's see if I can push it over. Nope, that's a good lock. Pretty good lock geometry there. I wasn't able to really just push it over anymore. No stick. Nice and smooth action. Let's see if it's still centered. Still centered. That's another way. The camera just makes it look off. But nope, it's dead on centered. Let's see if it helped out the action. Like I said, I couldn't even shake this thing closed unless I was really torquing down on it. So hopefully it made a little bit of difference. I don't think it'll make a huge difference, mainly because the lock bar tension's great enough to where I don't think much is gonna make this a free dropper unless you just have one insane within. Oh, look at that, with insane tolerances. Look at that, peeps. I'm pretty excited about that. Very excited. This is barely have to shake it down, and cool, wish you could feel how smooth this thing is. It did. Now I will say mine did have a good bit of grit and grime in there, I guess from the factory. It had some like metal shavings. Oh man, once this lube's unspread itself out, and I mean I just got this knife last week, so after some break-in period, I think this thing's gonna be a nice free dropper. Dang, I didn't think that was gonna be possible. So there you go. Another win for the knife pivot lube. I don't know if y'all saw on Instagram this weekend, I did a extreme humidity test with the knife pivot lube. I carried my large and cozy, and it handled our 100% humidity we had. The other day I was sopping wet. The blade was sopping wet. The two products that I had on there that worked like a charm is the knife pivot lube. Didn't gum up, didn't go away. And Jim Skelton, the company that he bought, the what is it? The EDCI corrosion inhibitor kept the blades from rusting. Because I've had some S35VN blades rust on me here recently because I didn't have them. I didn't have any corrosion inhibitor on it. Whenever I sweat like a hog, look at that, boy! Y'all should see the smile on my face right now. Like, I definitely wouldn't be able to do this before with the camera so close because I would have had to fling it down. 2 shakes and it's gone down. See, ooh! And anybody who owns these, you can ask them. These knives are really not free droppers. I know Brian Slicey Dicey cleaned his up, and his he got to give it a good shake. So that's a huge win. All right, guys and girls. I hope everybody's having an absolutely wonderful day. Any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.